to the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Jay Zawaski here, Greg Boysen, Mario Tirabassi. But we have a special guest in studio. Blackhawks head coach Derek King has joined us in our West Loop studios. Coach, it is great to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I don't know if I'm a special guest, but I'll take that right now. But, yeah, it's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we were told there'd be muffins, and I don't see any muffins.
Yeah, I missed out on that.
The media people ate all the muffins. So,
all right.
But I told them, I warned them they were about 30 days old, but they still choked them down. I'll get some coffee cake. My wife makes great coffee cake. Next time I'll get some for you guys.
All right.
And you can ask my oldest who came to watch. He knows how his mom bakes.
Well, I can report from when my best report from practice that morning was the muffins were good. So
that was probably the best thing of that whole day was the muffins. But
you're probably not wrong.
Yeah. But we're getting there.
Yeah. I mean, it's no secret that it's been a bit of a difficult stretch here coming towards the end of the season. Last night, again, another difficult game. But I mean, the season as a whole, since you took over to now, how would you kind of evaluate how the team is, developed and even yourself, how you've developed as a coach?
Well, I've definitely developed as a coach. I've learned a lot. This is it's a different demon from the American League to the NHL. But I think our team, we've hit a speed bump. That's all. It's a big speed bump right now. But I think we're heading in the right direction. From when I took over, a real fragile group, not sure where this was going to go, and then we kind of got, you win games and everybody's happy, right? And then we kind of win one, lose one, win one. Then we go on little stretches where we win a few, lose a few, but this stretch seems to be the big speed bump where the hurdle we have to overcome. And we got the right guys to overcome it. We just got to figure out how we're going to do that. And that's my job.
It seems like that Buffalo game really sort of changed the trajectory of the season, because even after the trade deadline, where the team had every excuse to say, well, we sold off, it's time for a rebuild. The response immediately after was really good, really positive. And then the collapse happens against Buffalo, and it seems that everything is sort of snowballed from there. What sort of things can you do with a generally young team to control that and rein them in and have them thinking one game at a time instead of, amplifying every little failure?
Well, it's the message every day. It's reminders of all the details of the game. Make sure if I go back, the big thing for me is these guys need to come to the rink. Like I said, when I walked up here in this beautiful building you got, it's like you want to come to work every morning when you're in this atmosphere. And that's the atmosphere we need to keep building over at whether we're at the Fifth Third or we're at the United Center. The guys are coming in there wanting to come to work, not tiptoeing around, not on eggshells, not the poor me, feeling sorry for ourselves, and that's where my job comes in. And I think we're doing a good job at that, and our guys are relaxed, but just when they get on that ice for that game, because we've lost so many, we got a couple of wins earlier, then we lose a bunch, and then we get a couple OT losses. We're starting to grip the stick a bit. So my job is to come in, make sure everybody's following the rules, following the details of the game, but relax, take a deep breath. We got this.
This has been a trying season, to say the least. A lot of off-ice things, a lot of things happening to the team, away from the team. You even mentioned it last night after the game that these guys are kind of burnt. I don't want to say burnt out, but they're feeling it. So how difficult has all the peripheral stuff made it in the locker room this year?
Well, it's been tough. I mean, coming into this, it's like, okay, like I said, we're fragile coming in with all the off-ice stuff, and then you start to, I always, even as a player, was always, whether you're having some problems at home or things are not going right, when you get on that ice, you forget about everything. So that's the nice thing. So you got to remind these guys of that. We're on the ice. We focus on what we need to do. Don't worry about all that stuff on the outside. That's out of our control. We can control what we do on the ice. And for the most part, the guys have really done a good job with that. Of late, I think after the trade deadline, just some uncertainty. I think it helped that Kyle was actually finally named the GM. That helps guys relax a little bit. But there's still a little uncertainty for players that Am I back next year? What are they thinking? I'm not in the lineup. How come? The GMs are watching. Who's gonna be the coach next year? And even in our room as coaching staff, there's guys, they're up for contracts too. Some of them, and they don't know what's going on. So which is normal. That's besides that. So when we're at the rink, we need to focus on just the team and focus on what we need to do to get out of this little slump we're in.
The stretch of games that the team has just recently gone through, losing 8 in a row, 11 of 13, I think you guys have dropped. Is it kind of mirror the situation that you came into at the beginning of the season where you're saying, guys were a bit fragile, they lost 11 of the first 12? Is it kind of mirror that, and you kind of have to say, hey, we've been here before, we can get through it?
Yeah,
or?
Exactly. It's exactly the message is, we put ourselves in this position, and we're the ones that can get out of it. I didn't like the outcome at the start of the year for Jeremy when he went through it, but I'm not worried about that for myself. We can fight through this. We're playing teams that are desperate, urgency, and we just have to match that, and they know that. I thought last game we have our little ups and downs during the game, but I still like the way we competed in the third. We kind of got it back, got the fans out of their seat. They get the empty net goal, and it was over then. But I still think we're trying. These guys are trying. We're a young team, and like we talked about, we're a little mentally exhausted and physically exhausted. But we'll battle through this. I know they will.
I want to go back to something you said to start the interview about you coming in and taking over an NHL job and the difference between Rockford and Chicago. Can you be specific with that? What were some of the surprises maybe that you encountered that maybe you weren't expecting?
Yeah, a lot of it's the details of the game, the breakdown of the game, or the whole day, your approach to playing a team, whatever your team is, Nashville, Vegas, whatever it is, but just that whole day of how we break it down, get a pre-scout going, make sure the power plays, PK videos ready to go, and if we have to show any other clips, they have to be prepared. And then, then it's media, and then it's got to talk to maybe ESPN's doing the game or whatever is doing it, and then you got to talk to them. So a lot of times you're not even. It's just go, 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 go. Whereas in the American League, like we talked about, Greg, it's a couple guys show up. I do Tuesday media day, and that's it. After the game, I talk. Preparation for a game is a little different because you're more worried about your guys, what they're doing, and how the team's playing. So you're showing mostly a video on things we need to correct as a team, and then you're doing a lot of individual stuff on and working with guys. So it's not as taxing. It's a little different demon, but like I said, this has been a learning experience for me. Coming into this, not knowing what to expect. I thought I was just going to come in and go, okay, you go out there and chase the puck around and stuff like that. But, there's a lot of details to this.
And speaking with the American League, you spent a lot of time down there as a player and a coach. How important is it with this Ice Hawks team now that they haven't clinched it yet, but a playoff run looks like it's going to be happening? How big is that for some of these young players, like an Ian Mitchell, like a Lucas Reichel, if he's back down there, some of these young guys that are going to be NHL players? How big is that to get those really meaningful games down the stretch?
Well, it's huge. It's meaningful hockey for them. This is how they get better. This is how they prepare themselves for the next step. Playoff hockey down there is probably like, hockey right now. Some teams are desperate. Some teams are working to get that last spot, how competitive it is. And that's probably how that's going to be for them down there. So they're going to get a good look at and a good feel of what it takes to move to the next level. And I've seen it with when I was in the Marlies. We went to the finals the one year against Norfolk, Tampa Bay's farm team that year. Half of those guys are playing in the NHL now. And a lot of the guys we had, I was talking to my oldest about some of the players we had, they're all in the NHL now. Because they've experienced that, they did well with that, it pays dividends for sure. So it looks like they're going to make it. I hope they can clinch it quick, and then some of those guys can go back down there and play some meaningful hockey. Especially when your big team is, struggling, not going to make the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs for a few years, so it's good for those guys to get that little taste of playoff hockey.
So the Blackhawks you know, they had a long stretch of success. Now they've had some lean years, and translating that to kind of your playing career, you came into the Islanders after their early 80s dominance run. You were a first round pick, and you know, getting into that time frame, does that experience that you had as a player, does that translate to some of the young guys with the Blackhawks now, specifically like a Kirby Dach or a Lucas Reichel, who are going to be looked at as like, hey, like we're going to be trying to get back to this prominence, and you're going to be a player that a lot of people are going to have eyes on?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, it was hard. You come into an organization like the Islanders after winning 4 cups, that dynasty, and then we're a few of us young guys, they weeded out a few of the older guys and made trades, and then there still was some guys like Trottier, Potvin, Billy Smith, guys like that were still around, but you know, they're so used to winning in that, and then all of a sudden those young guys come in and kind of cripple it. But it was a learning experience for me. I don't know if I was 100% ready for that, you know, coming out of junior and going right to the NHL. I did do a couple of stints down in the American League with Springfield, just on some conditioning, but I look back at it now, especially coaching in the American League. I think if I would have spent at least a whole year there for 1 year to start, it would have made me the transition a lot easier. But they, you know, Terry Simpson had a lot of patience with me. Bill Torrey is no longer with us, but in Al Arbor, it was a good thing those guys were around and had the patience they had with me, because I can see how that can creep into an organization where first rounders just not figuring it out, 2 years into it and gone, trade him. I always put it into like, give a guy about 3 years to figure this out, and if he hasn't, move him. So, but that's not my job. That's just the way I think, right? So, like I said, this is going to be huge playoff hockey experience for these guys, and you know, this is where you build your teams down there.
You mentioned Al Arbor. You got to play with him, under him in your career. Towards the end of your career, you got to play under Joel Quenneville, albeit very young in his head coaching career.
That's all right. Yeah,
I don't think that's an exclusive club, to be honest with you. But playing for literally two of the all-time greatest, most winnings in the league coaches, how is, if anything, what of those guys have influenced you now in your coaching career?
It was just how honest they were and how they managed the players. And I had Pat Quinn, too, in Toronto, a great coach, too. These guys walk into a room, they had a presence. You know, everything got quiet. And they knew they were ready to talk, and guys listened. Obviously, I don't have that presence. Those guys have been around a long time and were successful. Hopefully one day I will, but I just learned a lot how they managed the people, how they knew how to push buttons and make players better, by whether it was a little bit of a kick in the butt, or it was a hug, or or a little bit of both. You know, I needed a kick in the ass all the time, and that was Al, and he saw that in me. But I figured it out after. I used to hate him. Why is this guy riding me? But after retiring and looking back and then getting into coaching, I knew why he was doing it, because I needed it, and if it wasn't for a guy like that pushing my buttons, maybe I didn't have the career I had. So,
the game has changed in so many ways since you've played, and I wonder if this generation of player would be responsive to a coach having more of a, for lack of a better word, a hard-ass attitude. We had some people in our chat last night sort of saying, like, someone needs to flip over a table, someone needs to throw the Gatorade container. Does that even work with players in this generation anymore?
I'm not sure. We don't have a table in our room to flip over, and we don't have the big Gatorade thing, so I'm going to have to throw something. I don't know, but we're going to find out. I've been pretty patient. I'm trying to keep everybody relaxed, and like I said, I don't want guys to feel uncomfortable around me. But I have gone hard a little bit at times, but not as hard I probably should go. But there might be a couple of those hardness coming up here pretty soon. But, I think you're right, though. I don't think it's a different generation of players. I'm not saying they're soft or anything like that, but it's just the way the world is now, right? Whether you grab a guy by his jersey and shake him and tell him he sucks, or you give a guy a kick in the butt, you can't do that anymore. Next thing you know, the agents are calling, and the player doesn't respond from that. the big thing here is to get at them. I think nowadays with players, it's more like ice time and sit them out for a game and stuff like that. This is what's going to hurt them the most.
I did want to, you bring up ice time. I did want to ask, this as we get to the end of the season here and Blackhawks are trying to develop players, is there an importance made on giving young guys more ice time as this season progresses? Because I know last night a player like Alec Regula gets called up and plays almost 18 minutes. Is it more, I don't want to say forcing them to have more ice time, but is it kind of, is that part of the process and kind of starting to sit some veterans?
Yeah, there's no point. We've always had that up here when we call guys up. There's no point of calling a guy up to sit in the stands. If you're going to call him up, let's play him. That's why we've called him up. And we've done a pretty good job with that. And they got to earn their ice time. We're not just going to give them the minutes, but there's times when they make mistakes and they'll sit for a shift or two, and then you get them right back out there, especially the young guys. So I think we've done a pretty good job of managing that. So when Rags comes up, if he's struggling a little bit, you sit him for a couple shifts and then talk to him and then get him right back out there. And this is the process we have to do. There's no point of calling him up, has 2 bad shifts, and then you ride the pine and then send him right back down. That's not fair to the kid. And what's he going to learn from that? Mm-hmm. So, these young guys we have now, they're going to get their opportunities. I'll try to put them in a position where they can succeed. And if they fail, then we'll talk to them about it, and I'll get them right back out as soon as I can.
When you're part of a rebuilding team, how important is it to have some sort of veteran presence? It's impossible to go 100% kids because you're just going to end up losing every game, and it's going to destroy the confidence of every player.
Yeah.
How important is it to have some veteran leadership on those rosters, and how hard is it to keep those veterans motivated when the expectation is you're probably going to lose more games than you win?
Yeah, it's hard. You can see the frustration set in at times, when things are not going right. And it's creeping in a little bit now, and which is understandable. I mean, I wasn't Jonathan Taves or Patrick Kane in my career, but I remember being one of the veterans after a while and seeing these young guys come in and the frustration of losing and me getting frustrated. But you have to bring it in, and these are things you learn as a veteran how to deal with that. So these guys are learning how to deal with it. It's not easy for them, but they've done a good job. They're great in the locker room. Kaner, Taser's really good. His presence when he comes in that room, the guys know captain's back, and he's done a fabulous job. I've explained to them that sometimes your game is not where you like it to be, but that doesn't keep you from being that leader and make sure guys are accountable. Again, they've done a good job. Seth Jones is starting to come out a little bit more. Obviously, we miss a guy like Gord Murphy. We miss Fleury because he was real good in the locker room, good on the bench when he wasn't playing. And, there's some other guys that are stepping up, but they're not quite that veteran presence as like a guy like Taves or Kaner.
When you look at the construction of the roster now, how important is it? It seems like there's guys that are like, hey, this guy only succeeds when he's playing with top 6 talent. Yeah. This guy is our 4th liner, and how important going forward is to get more versatility, guys you can plug up and down the lineup and not worried about, hey, he only succeeds with this type of player.
He's only good on the centering Kane and DeBrincat. That's the only time he can play. It is important, and it can backfire on you a little bit, and I think that did a little bit with me with Kurashev and Borgstrom. I started them with the, I didn't feel they were working, playing the game the right way when they didn't have the puck. So I put them on the 3rd and 4th line, make them work. You put Kurashev with Lafferty or with Reese Johnson and Entwistle and these guys, that's their job, right? It's going to force him to play that way. It kind of backfired a little bit. We weren't getting much from him. The only thing it did help him with is he realized that you think you're working, but you're not. So I think Kurashev has really, really learned from that. Puck battles, winning those puck battles and getting into the gray areas. You're going to get hit. You're going to get smoked. You might get your head ripped off. Get up, brush yourself off, and get back in there. And now we've rewarded him and put him with the top line or one of the top lines, and he's been playing well. He's taken full advantage of it. It's hard to take him out of the lineup now.
I did want to ask, going back to your playing days, because, you did play for a very important era of Islanders hockey. You went through the logo change to the Fisherman.
Oh, geez, here we go.
I
should have brought my jersey in. I could have wore that today.
What, as a player, when that happened, what was that like? Because we've heard stories over the years, the fan reaction to that. What was the player reaction like that?
Oh my God!
Because now people love the nostalgia of it.
Now it's worth something, right?
It's so bad it's good.
When there were still some veterans around from after the Cup days that we started, and we still had that Islander pride kind of thing. We wanted to correct this. We wanted to be part of the next guys winning the Stanley Cup. The old regime was always around. That Gillies, Nystrom, these guys. We always saw those guys around the rink, and we wanted to be like them. But then when this happened, they brought in this new logo. They told us, and I guess I can say whatever I want anyways. Milbury and them told us, you guys need to promote this, whether you like it or not.
Oh, wow.
Ownership and the new management group. So here we are at this press conference. We got our jerseys on, and we love it. I think it's great change and blah, blah. And then we walk out and take them off and we throw them back in the box. And we're just like, are you kidding me right now? What is going on here? We did not like it. Hey, you want to change the color? Add a little color for a third jersey or make that a third jersey? Go ahead. But you're taking away from what a lot of those old-time players, when they won their cups, their dynasty, you're taking that away from them by doing something like that. I still have my jersey, so I might put it up on eBay here pretty soon.
There you go.
People are looking for one, but
you can bring it into practice. I'll make you an offer for it.
Make me an offer, yeah. But we the older guys weren't happy about it. The younger guys didn't know any better because they didn't have that Islander pride yet, right? Yeah. They were just like, I'm in the NHL. I don't care where I am. Where's my signing bonus? And I'm buying a new car. So that's where we were with that jersey. I was not happy about it.
Well, I wanted to bring up something. I'm a little bit starstruck because I'm a big video gamer. And right here is a piece of Chicago history. This game, 2-on-2 open ice challenge, made by a Chicago company now defunct Midway. Pat Foley is the play-by-play announcer. You are on the New York Islanders in this game.
Huh.
So it's basically you and 3 stars of the team. Can you guess your teammates? This was 1996, this game came out. There's 3 of your teammates, including a goalie, were on the roster. You have any guess who your teammates were in this game?
What year did it come out?
96.
96. My teammates. 96.
One is coaching with you. Not with you, but currently a coach.
Currently a coach.
Can we bring that back up on the screen there? Yeah, there we go.
Currently a coach.
I had forgotten Wendell Clark was an Islander.
96.
So that's the arcade version we have on the screen. So Wendell Clark is not on this version.
He's a better skater than me.
It's Eric.
I'm surprised. Look at the shot thing.
Yeah, you can shoot the hell out of the puck.
But Clarkie could shoot a puck.
Yeah.
Apparently he wasn't much
a better
of a passer
than him.
He was not going to pass.
Wendell wasn't an assist guy.
I'm surprised I even have a green in that check column. But I'll take the shot thing.
So when the video game came out for PlayStation, your teammates were Eric Fischel, Travis Green, and Zygmunt Palffy.
Oh yeah.
And the other cool thing about this game is all of the sound effects were recorded at McFetridge Ice Arena in Chicago. So this has always been my favorite game ever. I've held on to this since 1996.
That's unbelievable.
And I own a PlayStation 1 simply to play this game. And I always went to the Islanders because I love Ziggy Palffy.
Ziggy Palffy was great.
You were also wonderful in the game.
That's a token. They just throw me in there, token.
Who was the other guy? Eric who?
Eric Fischel was the goalie.
Eric Fischel was a goalie.
The goalie, okay.
Who started way too young. They threw him to the Wolves. He had shoulder surgery and then never recovered. He was a real good goalie. Real good. I think he does maybe some radio stuff in Montreal and stuff like that. Now I still keep in touch. Palffy I've never seen, and then Travis Green obviously I always talk to. You know, it's too bad a guy like that gets fired because he's a pretty class act. So
yeah.
But I'm still can't believe I have a better shot than Wendell Clark.
Don't
let him see that; he'll beat me up.
Hold it over his head.
That's Blackhawks legend Wendell Clark.
That's right. That was a fun week.
Oh yeah,
whatever it was.
I think it was 11 games Wendell Clark played for the Blackhawks.
So you played and coached in Toronto at different levels, but with the Maple Leafs organization. Historically, a hockey crazy, hungry market.
Yep.
What was that experience like, being in that, Hockey Central with being in Toronto, both as a player and as a coach in the minor league system?
It's the coaching part of it was great. I just had this conversation with some of the guys around the room, and that how nice Chicago treats us as a staff or as the organization is top notch. And Toronto has been known for, they treat their players, their staff but I will say Chicago takes it to another level. And that's, and I haven't been in Toronto for a while, so I don't know if they've changed or upped it a little bit there, but Chicago is by far the best place to play. Coaching there was great. Playing there as a player, it was like, I'm from Hamilton, which is just down the street. So when I became an unrestricted free agent and they called, I jumped all over it. I said, just make me an offer. And they made me an offer. And they actually made me more than I was actually looking for. So, but I didn't tell them that. And I jumped on it. And it was, what an experience. Closing the old garden, opening up the new Air Canada Center at the time, going to the conference finals, just the whole atmosphere, the vibe that was going around the city. It was a great time to play there. But it was dynamite, especially, it's like being from Chicago or the suburbs and playing for the Hawks, putting on your jersey, right? It was like that for me. Grew up a Leafs fan, and now I'm playing. Now I'm putting the jersey on. It was unbelievable.
Last game at the Garden was against the Blackhawks.
Yep.
I believe you have the final goal scored there.
I have the last goal as a Maple Leaf. Bob Probert had the last goal.
Yep. What was it like playing in Chicago Stadium?
It was awesome. Crazy fans. This is a great city. And I keep reminding these guys, we're fortunate enough to be part of this organization. This city is unbelievable. And the fans are dynamite. I mean, the Toronto fans were great. Islander fans were good. A couple of them asked me to retire. I think it was right after my first game I ever played. The guy was yelling at me, "When are you going to retire, King?" I'm like, I just started. But playoff time with the Islanders was unbelievable. But being here and being on that bench as a coach now and just being around, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
You've got to keep the cap behind the bench.
I did it the one game.
I like it.
I forget what game. Vegas.
Yeah.
I kept it on. Ray Ferraro, another teammate of mine on the Islanders, he was in between the benches, and I talked to these guys. Whoever's doing the games, I always talk to them before and give them a little scoop on guys and stuff like that. So he goes, "You got to wear the hat for me." I was like, all right. So I kept it on. But maybe I'd change it up and put it back on again.
Yeah, why not?
Something.
Yeah. You had
the
the lucky suit earlier this season.
Yeah,
maybe the hat
get my
can bring some
jacket
luck.
out, get all my lucky socks on, and my hat on, and hopefully we turn this around.
The hat was working for 2 periods that game, so
Yeah.
maybe we're for the first 2 periods, leave it in the locker room for the third.
Or the last period, try it again or something.
Yeah.
But
The key to coaching success in Chicago is the mustache.
Yeah.
Quenneville and Ozzie Guillen and Ditka. That's Phil Jackson.
Maybe I got to go to just a mustache.
That's it. Let's go stash.
We'll see.
Coach, we appreciate you joining us.
Well, thanks
it's
for having
been
me.
wonderful. The half hour flew by.
Yeah.
And we hope we can do it again soon.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
That's
Coach.
Blackhawks head coach Derek King. Thanks to the Hawks, Will Chuckerman, John Steinmiller, everybody over there for making this happen. We greatly appreciate it. Hope you enjoy that. And hey, the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making a $50 or more first-time deposit on PointsBet. Your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, Live NBA Same Game Parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live NBA Same Game Parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game, and if you want more, you can always boost your live Same Game Parlays. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And now, online sign-up is available in Illinois, so you can download the PointsBet app right now from the shower, in your underwear, whatever you're doing, you can do it from start to finish on your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. That was awesome.
Do you shower with your phone?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got a little ledge up there.
Are you like Kramer? Are you making salads in the shower?
I'm doing all sorts of stuff, man. Shower is like some of the few moments of the day I'm alone.
I get that.
You know,
I get
no
it,
one's
yes.
talking to me. No one's bugging me.
Yes,
So
that is true.
I'll go through TikTok on my phone. I call it TikTok sometimes.
I learned today,
nice.
thanks to Casey, our great social media manager here.
Yeah.
She's the best. I'm apparently huge on TikTok.
Apparently.
I've never been on the TikToks. I don't know anything about it. I think I'm not their target audience, which I'm okay with. But apparently 20-somethings love me.
How could they
Who
not?
knew?
What is not to love?
Who knew?
It's big.
I'm going to roll with it.
That's-
I'm going to
that-
roll with
that's-
it. I'm going to
that's
get a T-shirt that says TikTok legend.
Huge on
Big
TikTok.
on TikTok.
Big,
Yeah.
big with the kids.
That interview, I loved his candor and his honesty, owning mistakes, saying playing Kurashev and Borgstrom on the bottom six, it backfired on me.
Didn't work, yep.
It did not work out. That everybody, player, coach, broadcaster, whatever, is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And he knows that, and him talking about coming in and being kind of overwhelmed at first and then settling into the role, these things take time, and I think his honesty with so many of the things he talked about, and look, like, if you were listening closely, you heard what he was saying about prospects not getting a chance to play in the minors and how that can be detrimental and how they now have to take the time to recover guys like Kirby Doc and other guys that were maybe rushed to the NHL a little bit. I thought there was a lot there.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go back and listen to it on the way home to make sure I didn't miss anything. But he gave us a lot. And how you never have a coach in any professional league own something specific like that. That's almost unheard
Yeah,
of. And I think to the players and to the fans, that I think that maybe endears them to him because look, he doesn't think he's perfect. He knows he's made mistakes, miscalculations. Now what do you learn from that? And that's what we're going to find out about Derek King in the remaining games of the season and maybe beyond. We'll see.
Yeah, people constantly will ask, what is it that makes him, makes us, because we've talked about it on this show, makes us believe that, him coming back is the right thing to do, or what could it hurt, whatever way you want to put it. I think it is that honesty. I think that what he brings to that locker room and not BSing the players, saying, hey, this is working for you, this isn't working for you, we're going to put you in XYZ role, this is why we're doing it. His honesty with the media, I think that's another thing that is, one, refreshing, but also can allow him to connect with these players bringing up. He talked about his own experience as a young player, and he said it was a difficult transition, even with it, back in playing in the 80s, going straight from junior to the NHL and not really having any real minor league time. To his own career experience, it was detrimental to a point where he had to jump right into it. And I think that's the concern that a lot of Blackhawks fans have with prospects, in the past and in the future. Past regimes have rushed prospects. We've talked about Kirby Doc. Adam Bokus, while he was here, a lot of people thought was rushed. Even Alex DeBrincat, when he started his career, people were saying, this kid needs to go to Rockford. And then he starts scoring goals at a crazy rate and everything's fine. But I think it's something like that perspective he can bring, that I think is valuable to a team that's going to be going through a rebuild and going to be young.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying, why do you think he's a good coach for a rebuilding team? I think those conversations right there proved. How many times did he mention himself? Kind of rushed a little bit. Former teammates kind of rushed a little bit. He gets it. And he gets that this isn't going to be an overnight process. In order to be a really good NHL player, you've got to learn your lessons. You got to pay your dues. He understands that. He's not going to be the type, if he's here beyond this season, he's not going to be the type of coach that says, hey, we've lost 4 in a row. Get me whoever the leading Rockford player is up here today. That's not going to happen. And his honesty, I've been lucky enough to cover, I covered essentially his entire run in Rockford. He's always been honest. If he's able to sit there and admit to us that he's made mistakes, you damn well know he's telling that to these players, that he will sit them aside and go, listen, okay, I thought you'd be good here. I was wrong, so I'm going to put you here. Prove me wrong.
Yeah,
and a guy like Philip Kurashev has the last couple of games, and you know he's having those conversations with him. If he's telling us these things, multiply that by 10 of what he's telling his players. And that, when a player, especially a young player, still trying to figure out, can trust his head coach, that's why he's the right kind of coach for a rebuilding team, at least as it's getting off the ground. 13th
overall pick in 1985 was Derek King. Like you said, came right into the league and did not get off to a hot start. First full 55-game season, 12 goals, 24 assists, 14 goals, 29 assists. But then later in his career, 3, 4, 5 years, 40 goals, 38 goals, 30 goals. He became an effective player, and he proved that he was worth that 13th overall pick. It just takes time, and I think he understands that, which is important for player development, right? He's not going to pull the plug on some kid who's not great right away, and he can go look at Kirby Dach in the face and say, look, I've been where you are. I get it. I've been through it. It's tough, but you have talent. There's a reason you were picked where you were, and stick with it, and you're going to get through it and become the player that they thought you were going to be when they picked you 3rd overall. So I think that's – I didn't realize that about him, that he was drafted and brought right in. And I think that connection with so many Hawks, even Ian Mitchell, who has correctly been sent back down – he can say, look, I've been through what you've been through. It's not a linear line to success. You're not just going to go up, up, up. There's going to be peaks and valleys, and I'm going to help you get through it because I did it myself.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly important. And, he talked about playing for coaches like a Joel Quenneville, like an Al Arbor, coaches that had the presence of walking in the locker room. And he admits, I don't have that. But I think as, if he is coaching with Chicago beyond this season, he has the opportunity to come into a new season next year, be a familiar voice, be a familiar face, and have the opportunity to have that rapport with more of the veteran players, not just the guys that he's been with, through the last few seasons with Rockford, and then young players this season, but also some of the veterans that he mentioned, like Taze and Kane. They might be around next year, probably. But beyond that, who knows? Connor Murphy, Jake McCabe, Seth Jones, like these more veteran players that he's getting a rapport with through this season and potentially into the offseason and into next season. That's also important. So the idea of bringing in a completely fresh coach, completely new voice, could be and might still be on the table for the Blackhawks. But I think at this point, again, I really don't feel that Derek King has done anything to not have his name be in the hat for next season.
Yeah, there is something to saying of starting a season familiar and starting a season with a competitive edge. And if you want to start your day with a competitive edge, we recommend Strava CBD coffee because it is a game changer, and it has helped thousands of people improve their overall wellness and quality of life. And who doesn't want that? Strava delivers delicious, fresh roasted specialty coffee infused with organic broad spectrum CBD. That's right. It's coffee. It's hemp. It's together. It's delicious. I mean, where can you go wrong? CBD from hemp doesn't make you high or hungry, but it does offer benefits that can help you. You're going to feel alert, but without the jitters. A strong cup of coffee will give you. Live your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Plus, including CBD in your daily routine could even help you enjoy a more restful sleep and wake up feeling refreshed. I've been drinking this coffee for the last couple of weeks, and I could tell you, I'm someone who is very anxious and has lots of aches and pains, and I have noticed a difference since including the Strava with my morning routine. The best part, Strava is all about quality. Everything is small batch, fresh, and shipped directly to your door. You don't have to go looking for it. It comes to you. It offers concentrated full-spectrum CBD for those looking for a more traditional CBD format with a powerful entourage effect of benefits. And CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase when you use the code CHGO25 when you check out. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com. That's STRAVA coffee.com. And when you use that CHGO25 code at checkout. And if you're already a fan of Strava, and by now we've been talking about it for a few weeks, you should be, because it's a great product. You can also subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. That's where they put you in control, save on your favorite coffees, and have them automatically delivered to your home or office when you want it to. It doesn't get any easier for a great cup of coffee that includes all the benefits of CBD. And they have different levels. I know you said you've tried out the lower level one. I went for the full strength because, go big or go home. But whatever your comfort level is, they've got it for you. Check them out over at Strava.
Strava Craft Coffee.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I wanted to get to this question here from Windy City Hockey here.
Windy City
Question for the crew. Are you worried the Hawks lose out the rest of the season and land a top 2 pick in this draft and pushing the first round pick sent to the Blue Jackets into a deep 2023 draft? So first point, I don't think the Blackhawks can lose out into getting better odds than either Montreal or Arizona or Seattle. I don't think that's going to happen. But if you land the first or second overall pick, if you're Chicago and the lottery balls go your way, that means you're either landing Shane Wright or potentially Yuri Slavkovsky. I have no issue if the Blackhawks come out of this 2022 draft with either one of those players. If that ends up being the case, there's nothing wrong with that. Shane Wright is looked at as, he's not a McDavid. He's not one of these generational.
He's more of a Bergeron
changing.
Type player.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, he's been pretty good too.
He's all right.
So Shane Wright, the projections on him may not be as earth shattering as a McDavid or an Austin Matthews, but you're still getting a quality player who you could look at and be like, this is going to be a kid that you can build around. You can build a franchise with him as part of it. Same with a player like Slavkovsky, who I think has, through the Olympics really increased his stock. And, he's the kind of player, both of them are, that the Blackhawks need. Either a dynamic center who can eventually be a top line center, power play, penalty kill, or a power winger with size and scoring ability. Like the Blackhawks need forwards that have that kind of abilities. So, if maybe you don't end up in the top 5 of the 2023 draft with a Connor Bedard, with Ryan Fantilli, I'm blanking on the Michkov, with the in Russia. Like you may lose out on a potential player like that. But you're still getting someone who, even like if either of those two players were in the 2023 class, they'd be in that mix too. It's not like these guys are scrubs in 2022 and it's all about 2023. There's still quality players at the top of this draft.
And look, like even if you, neither is guaranteed.
Right. Exactly.
So I would rather, of course, if I had the choice to choose between this draft and the 23 draft, yes, I would opt to have the higher pick next year.
Right.
But I'd rather have one than not.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
So I don't think, if they get one either year, that's a win. As of last night, this from my buddy James Naveau, he said since Ottawa ended up beating Detroit, the Hawks dropped to the 6th worst record in the league, and their odds of getting a top 2 pick is 15.5.
Right, and that's with an 8-game losing streak.
Right.
So
they're not going to lose the next 9 games.
Obviously, the 2023 draft is a stacked draft, but none of those guys are guarantees. I would prefer a top 2 pick in 2023, but you don't say no to the top overall pick in 2022.
Right.
Shane Wright is still going to be a really good player. Even if it's the 2nd pick, we mentioned Yuri Slavkovsky, who I love. I love that kid. He's big. He's talented. He's exactly what the Hawks need. But you could also get a guy like a Logan Cooley, who's come up the draft ranks, a real nice player. A Matthew Savoy, who's lighting it up in the WHL. So you don't say no to a top 2 pick just because you think the next draft is going to be better. And yes, Connor Bedard and Fantilli and Michkov, those are could be franchise-altering players. But there's no guarantee you're going to get one of those picks in 2023. So if you get that first overall pick this year, you take it. You gladly take it.
Absolutely.
So
and you might end up with the 8th or 9th pick next in the 2023 draft, and this might be completely moot. You might just be getting another, not to downplay it, but you might be just getting another 10th 10th overall
Right.
pick.
I mean,
9th overall pick.
if you hope it's better than that, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
If the lottery balls drop in your favor and you're guaranteed handed one of the top 2 picks, you take it because you don't know what's going to happen next year.
Right.
I think
you don't know.
I think fans are recently shell-shocked with Kirby Dach because he was picked 3rd overall in a deep 2019 draft, and I think a lot of Blackhawks fans feel like they got duped. And there's still time for him to develop. He still can be a very solid player, but the having the number 3 overall pick tag on him, and we've talked about this, is that weighs on a player, and especially if someone doesn't immediately light it up, it becomes an issue. So I think a lot of Blackhawks fans have some unease about
Right.
being in the top 3, top 2 range, and potentially missing out on somebody.
Everybody loves Connor Bedard, and he's a fantastic player. But again, he's what, 16, 17 years old, 17?
Yeah, but
he's no guarantee. I mean, he's pretty darn
he looks
close
pretty
to
damn
a guarantee.
good.
Yeah. I mean, he's about as close as you get to a guarantee star, but
Yeah.
there's no guarantee that he pans out. What happens when he starts facing men,
Right,
You never
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So there's no guarantee that he's going to be a superstar. I like the odds.
Yeah.
I'll take those
Right,
odds.
exactly.
I'll take those
I'll add
odds.
them. I'll add them to my franchise tomorrow if you let me.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee that any of these guys are going to be, top superstars. So that's the uniqueness about the draft. So if you get one of the top 2 picks this year, then you take it. You gladly take it.
I cannot wait till the off-season draft talk.
Well, there's a
I
lot.
can't wait.
There's a lot
I've-
to talk about. Lots of
I
guys.
love draft
be
time.
fun.
Love draft time.
A comment from Jay Serio in the chat. He says, loves the interview with King. Hoping we'll get more guests on. Oh, for sure. Yes.
Yep.
Especially as the offseason hits. We'll be doing 5 a week. We'll be having a lot of guests on draft previews, free agency previews, hopefully some more Hawks people will
Yeah.
be willing to come by and hang out with us, but definitely in the works.
Yeah.
It's been tough with post games, and then remote shows sometimes. Once we're in the offseason swing and the regular schedule, it'll be a lot easier to get those guests scheduled. I know we want to talk about Pat Foley.
Yes.
It's going to be our last chance to do it before the ceremonies happen tomorrow. But first, I want to remind everybody to become a CHGO member. It's just such an awesome thing to be part of. You get access to our Discord channel. You get access to all the great written content. I've got my love letter to Pat Foley coming out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. It's just a constant stream of great written content, access to the CHGO locker, a free shirt when you become a member. It's just an awesome thing to sign up for, and honestly, it helps us. It supports its approach to product. So if you're enjoying it, make sure you jump on that CHGO membership and go to allchgo.com for information. And remember, if you use that PointsBet app and use the code CHGO and make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you get a free membership. So do that. Real easy. Real nice. All right, Pat Foley night coming up on Thursday. The Blackhawks just emailed, as we were having an interview with Derek King, the Hawks Win exclusive T-shirt available on cbhshop.com. It says Hawks Win 3 times with Pat Foley's signature underneath it.
Gonna get me one of them.
Cool enough shirt. I am intrigued by the
great.
giveaway, which is very fittingly a Pat Foley pint glass.
Perfect.
I've got to get one of those. I may trade my Foley and Talon bobbleheads that are here on the desk in exchange for a Pat Foley pint glass because
I'm gonna try. I'll
that's
try.
a perfect giveaway.
I am definitely when on my way down to media after tomorrow night's game. I am definitely going to take a stroll up and down a few seats to see if anybody left them behind.
Yes, please do.
And if I can get a
leave-behinds.
couple, I will definitely make that trade. We
Even
can
if we
make
have to
that
piece
trade
together a
on the air.
broken one.
No, that's gonna
Yeah,
that's gonna be a good
Yeah.
glass. Hopefully, I can we can find some extras lying around Thursday night.
Yeah.
I think we kind of don't really know what they plan. They just say Pat Foley celebration, but based on if there's one thing this organization does an amazing job of, maybe the best thing that they do is their celebrations of players. The Marion Hossa thing was awesome the other night. The Jonathan Taves one, thought they do it right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see whatever video package they can come up with. There's going to be a few.
Pat Foley.
You got to have a bannerman thrown out there, and
He should be there.
And it was awesome with Pat and Dale Talon in the booth the other night. I didn't get to watch it live because I was there, but I DVR'd the game and went back and watched it, and it was great. I miss those. That's what I grew up on. I grew up on Pat Foley, Dale Talent. Pat Foley has been the voice of the Blackhawks my entire fandom, except for those missing years in between there. But I associate Pat Foley with the Blackhawks, much like other generations associate Jack Brickhouse with the Cubs.
Yeah. Or Harry Carey or whatever.
Harry Carey, Johnny Red Kerr with the Bulls. Those. He's iconic. He's legendary.
It's the soundtrack of my fandom.
Absolutely. It's going to be very hard watching Blackhawk games going forward and not hearing Pat Foley. Chris Foster's, I think, is going to do a great job as he grows into it.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a thankless task.
I don't envy him in the league. That is replacing a legend is never easy. It's going to be hard to win over a lot of. But my advice to everybody, getting to know Chris a little bit at practice the last few days, just give him some time. Let him grow into the position. He's not going to be Pat Foley, and that's okay.
There's never going to be another Pat Foley.
No one's ever going to be Pat Foley. No. So let Chris Foster's be Chris Foster's. Let him grow into the job. Give him some time, and I think he'll be great. And I can't wait to see what the Blackhawks do tomorrow to celebrate Foley.
They need to blow this out for him. I think this needs to be as big of a celebration as they've ever done. What I would like to see is the Mikita family there. Pat's first game was Stan Mikita's last. And I think that having the Mikita family there as a representation of, kind of bookending the career would be very fitting. I was talking to Stan's daughter, Jane, on Facebook the other day because she shared that fact, reminded me of that fact. And I said, do you have any memories to share that I could let people know on CHGO? She's like, I was so young, I don't really remember the broadcast. I remember the day, which doesn't remember the broadcast. But I hope the Mikita family is involved in some way because they were there when it started. They should be there when it ends.
Yeah, I think that would be one of the many different things that the team could do to honor Foley and his legacy and his time as the voice of the Blackhawks. I mean, it's like you said, Jay. One thing that the organization does well is the celebrations, and even for a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, who was here for half a season, they blew it up for his 500th win. Yeah. And it's something that I think if there's ever a person around or within the organization that deserves to have something completely massive where the ceremony and the celebration is almost more important than the game that gets played after it, it's Pat Foley. So you guys said on the broadcast, I was at the game last night, but you said on the broadcast that Eddie Olczyk alluded to, hey, tune in early. So it'll definitely be some sort of pregame ceremony. Hopefully it's a big thing and not just like, oh, yeah, and in the intermission we're going to honor Pat Foley, and he gets like a 2-minute little thing, says thanks, and that's the last we see of him.
Yeah, I misspoke, by the way. It was when they retired Stan's jersey, not his final game.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
There we go.
My bad.
Real quick before we wrap it up, Windy City Hockey had another question in here asking for covering the Ice Hogs playoff run. I said a little bit on last night's post-game show. That is the plan. We're not going to have Blackhawks playoff hockey to talk about. I plan on heading out to as many of those playoff games as possible, especially if they play Milwaukee in the first round.
Or Chicago. Chicago Wolves.
Ideally, it would be Milwaukee first round, Wolves second round. Perfect. I can go to all the games. But I plan on going to as many of those games as I can, getting some quotes, and hopefully we'll be able to get some of the guys on the Ice Hogs on the show. We're going to try. And so for as long as they're in the playoffs, this will be the CHGO Ice Hogs podcast. So for those of you who are interested in the Ice Hogs postseason run, we are planning on keeping you fully abreast on everything that's happening in Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's wrap things up. What a great show. It flew by. That's for damn
it really
sure.
did, yeah.
Want to remind everybody we're presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And the best way to support us is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO. You'll get if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. Any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. For my partners Mario and Greg, I'm Jay Zawaski. We'll talk to you Thursday night after Pat Foley night here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.